Madkour, our political and economic expert. First, ma'am, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy 12th of Rabi al-Awwal, happy al-Mawlid al-Nabawi.
To all our viewers as well.
And to you first, ma'am.
Thank you.
We are going to start immediately. As usual, we do have plenty of headlines coming from many of our dailies, and we are going to start from Shuru, where we read, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi attended on Saturday the first follow-up meeting in Cairo to November 1st annual National Youth Conference, which was held in the Ritzy Resort of Sharm el-Sheikh. The Saturday event was attended by hundreds of youth and dozens of state officials. Ma'am, regarding the implementation of the recommendations of the November International Conference, the recommendations turned to be presidential directives, and the presidential directives turned to be incidents or events taking place on the ground, and this is exactly what happened yesterday. How do you see this sequence first?
First of all, you know, this is for the first time in Egypt, really, that a president is so much concerned with the youth, because it is very important. I mean, the youth constitutes actually 65% of our population. So not that they have to be satisfied, but at least he has a commitment towards them to make Egypt a country in which our dreams can be realized.
Yes.
Their dreams, for the most. They are the leaders of the future.
Yes.
And when you have this interaction between the president and the youth, definitely this contributes to a harmonious society. And this is actually the aim. What I liked most about yesterday's conference really is the attempt of the president to explain what people in Egypt are expecting from the various sectors, especially education. Okay, and I liked very much that he was insisting on what I call the Egyptian personality and the Egyptian identity, actually. Okay, so in fact, what the president has done yesterday was an attempt to really, you know, put emphasis on what is lacking in the society and how to achieve it. Education, mind you, is the most important thing in any society, because it just doesn't make or constitute our character or our characteristics or our identity. No.
Identity, yes.
No, it doesn't do that alone.
Yes.
It makes you feel responsible, that you have rights, yes, but you have as well what? Duties.
You know, ma'am, the sense of belonging, when it is deeply rooted into this generation, tomorrow is going to be that much different.
As we did in the past.
Amen to that. And this is exactly...
And what I liked as well, he has been praying to God yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, that we maintain our will, that we maintain our freedom of choice,
and
that we will not be in need to ask for help.
Yep. And we are going to have this detailed comprehensive report about this incident which took place yesterday, so stay tuned.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurated on Saturday the monthly session of Youth Dialogue, which was attended by government and political parties, officials, as well as youth from various universities. A number of files were being tackled during the session, including education, the economic situation, as well as youth-suggested initiatives. Addressing the session, President al-Sisi stressed the significance of education and raising youth awareness towards ongoing challenges and how they should be integrated into the political, economic and social scene. The head of state reiterated that education should be used to have a dialogue and raise hope, adding that the society plays an important role in the education reform process. The president noted that there are many challenges that require more attention beside education. The session reviewed the latest recommendations of the National Youth Conference, which was held in Sharm el-Sheikh in October, including the formation of a committee Sisi to review cases of some youth detainees and pardoning of 82 young people, mostly university students. Meanwhile, President Sisi attended the second session of the Youth Dialogue, which centered on economic reform and youth vision towards it. The session tackled the latest procedures undertaken by the government to heal the ailing economy, liberalizing the pound and the value of the local currency against the US dollar, in addition to the new investment law. The president said the monthly conference is aimed at organizing the knowledge and enlightening system for all people.
Welcome back. And to continue, but from Al-Akhbar this time, we read President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi will meet his Zambian counterpart Edgar Lungu next week in Cairo after President el-Sisi invited him to visit Egypt. He is expected to arrive in Cairo on the head of a high-ranking delegation in order to hold talks on enhancing bilateral ties and boosting cooperation, as well as coordinating on issues of mutual concern. Back to Africa. And each time there is mutual visits between Egypt and an African state, I feel that we are doing the right thing towards our strategic depth. Now it's Zambia. How do you see this?
Well, look, Nermeen, the gaining or regaining of Egypt's role, not just in the Mediterranean or the Middle East or even the whole world, but mainly we are Africans at the end of the day, okay? And our interests now are in Africa, especially for the Renaissance Dam. We have to gather together people from or various countries in Africa in order to finally convince, if possible, the Ethiopians not to give up, but at least to be sensible. In the filling, our difference with the Ethiopians is not the Renaissance Dam itself, but the filling of the Renaissance Dam.
Yes.
Okay, especially that there has been some rumors, if they are rumors, I don't know, that the dam has been, not really standing to the much weight and to the much water that has been already stored behind them. Especially after the heavy rain from which Ethiopia and we have as well suffered if you remember.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's hope that they become sensible in whatever. We are standing by them in order for them to develop. Nobody can stand against their development. Even we can contribute to their development, okay? But we have the right to live.
Sure.
Okay.
And it's our national security.
Exactly.
To Al-Masri اليوم, where we continue to read also another local issue, local international to be accurate. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry on Saturday hailed a special relationship with Saudi Arabia, denying reports that the two powerful Arab nations had fallen out after Egypt expressed support for the Russian intervention in Syria. Shoukry says, "Let me reassure you that from Egypt's perspective, we have a very clear vision as to the fundamental nature of that relationship. Arab national security depends on the cohesion and understanding that exists between Saudi Arabia and Egypt." Egyptian diplomacy, once again, it's playing a very important role when
It's
it
a
comes
crucial role, actually,
to our international affairs and Arab affairs here.
Mind you, just who is escalating the difference? It's Saudi Arabia, it's not in Egypt. We are putting emphasis on what brings us together, and they are putting emphasis on what really dissects such a fundamental, and not just fundamental, they have an obligation like we do have, okay, for this part of the world. If we both have a common aim, if we both have a common interest, why did they go to the Brits? Okay.
I mean, why, in one sentence, don't you think that we are both working for the for maintaining the integrity and the sovereignty of Syria?
The problem is they have a problem with Bashar al-Assad.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
But not with the Syrian people.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the whole issue.
Yep.
Who is paying at the end of the day?
The Syrian people.
Exactly. And if just the Saudi Arabia really considers things and come to their senses as they were always, okay? If I'm driven against the Shiites, fine, but it will not be something that really pushes me or actually enforces itself on issues that regard a whole population of 26 million who are now scattered in the world.
Half of them at least.
At least, and even those, Nermeen, who are still residing in Syria have been somehow leaving their homes because
displaced inside their own country.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. To أخبار اليوم, where we continue to read, the Arab League denounced Saturday the terrorist attack which took place on Friday against a security checkpoint in Giza in El Haram district that killed 6 policemen and injured 3 others. Arab League Secretary General Ahmed bin Hilli expressed his condolences to the families of the victims and the Egyptian people, according to a statement reported by Egypt's state news agency MENA. Also, Kuwaiti Emir Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmad al-Jaber al-Sabah sent a cable to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi condemning the criminal attacks that aims to undermine security and stability, and also among the first Arab governments or leaderships to express support to Egypt and to condemn this terrorist attack was Saudi Arabia and Jordan.
Definitely. Look, Nermeen, nobody is susceptible to terrorism. Nobody. And you've seen yesterday at night there was an attack near Taksim in the stadium in Turkey. So nobody, even they themselves.
Outside Beşiktaş, one of the most important Turkish teams. Meaning that those terrorists also are keeping an eye on where are the crowds located,
they want to
stuff
to harm.
And to say that we are going to reach the places to harm
even
people.
in a country that is following, actually supporting terrorism, like Erdogan. Okay.
Like, let's say there are many questions.
Well, he is a brotherhood, isn't he?
Far from this, how many questions are raised on Erdogan's way to deal with journalists, judges, military personnel?
Well,
how many arrests?
This coercion which he's using over his people, okay, definitely will create resentment and would create, actually what I call an opposition.
Anyhow, many calls are renewed today to freeze the talks between the EU and Turkey about their membership.
Is he still having hopes?
Is what, ma'am?
Is he still having hopes to join
Till the moment, ma'am. Of course, you are talking about someone who
wants it to be a caliphate for the Muslims.
You are speaking
and he
about
wants to
someone
be a caliphate
who still
for
thinks
the
that he
Arab
can
world.
be a caliphate.
In the 21st century?
The Ottoman Empire is still working there.
Okay.
Some good news, some very good news from Al Masr al-Yawm newspaper. We read, Egypt's Court of Cassation rejected on Saturday a final appeal by militant Adel Habara against a death sentence for plotting an execution-style killing of 25 soldiers in an ambush in August 2013.
Finally, actually.
After full 3 years.
Imagine the families that are waiting for what I call that justice could be served. Okay? I mean, he has the right to appeal, certainly. He has had that right. But I am happy that
for 3
finally...
years? For 3 years?
That's how the lawsuits are taking place in Egypt. It's a process that should be actually minimized.
In one court.
This guy,
there was 603 cases reviewed by the judges.
I'll tell you one thing, Nermeen.
How much time should they take to take a
I'm
decision
telling you,
in those
people like
600 or more than
terrorists
600.
or militants
Yeah.
should be really not going to civil courts, but to military courts, because those who are that fall victim for such attacks, they are waiting for justice to be served, and they can't. If you listened yesterday to the mother of Islam on TV, and she was crying, and she was telling her son, who has passed away, finally justice has been done to you.
Tomorrow is another day, ma'am, and we hope
Surely.
that we are going to listen to more good news.
Hopefully.
Once again, congratulations. Enjoy a wonderful, happy spiritual day on the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal.
Inshallah.
Dr. Mervat, as usual, I enjoyed my time.
Me too.
Our political and economic expert, Professor Dr. Mervat Madkour, she was with us analyzing some of the headlines which were published on our dailies. Stay tuned only on Nile TV International, as right after the short break we are going to be back always.